Saheli Chatterjee and Ishant Sharma. I think you've heard about their names or consumed their content at least once. If not, let me just quickly tell you who these folks are. So, Saheli Chatterjee is a marketing specialist and she started as a freelancer, eventually started her own agency and also creates content on YouTube, Instagram, as well as LinkedIn. So, Saheli also has a course, Freelance 101 Academy, and her agency's name is Coffee Media, which she probably started a couple of years ago. She's somebody whom I started following when I started my journey in 2021, and she had good number of followers even back then on Instagram, and I found her content helpful. Okay, now about Ishan. So Ishan owns an agency which is MarketUp, and probably he is from the coding background. I don't know much about that, but apart from his agency, I think I know him more from the creator's perspective, as in he creates a lot of content on YouTube and has a massive following base. So talking about this video particularly, why am I creating this? So about 2 days ago, while searching for a topic on YouTube, I came across this video, a video which was posted the same day by an anonymous person who has like an AI generated channel or just a channel without his face. So that person created a video exposing Saheli Chatterjee and Ishant Sharma, and that was a pretty long, well researched video. I'm not saying that was a random video. No, he has done a good job in terms of researching all the facts, finding data, going through so many socials, interrogating people and more. He's done a good job in that. But there are a lot of allegations and claims he has made, which I think I want to talk a bit about, because Saheli has given a response to most of the claims without directly putting them out. But I think there's still a lot of things that people want to know from Saheli which she hasn't answered. And of course, I cannot answer on her part, but I definitely have a say because I was a freelancer who transitioned into an agency owner, and I also create content across different platforms. Plus, I also have a course. So I'll definitely be covering all those main issues which that YouTuber made and the things that Saheli responded to. I'll be talking about those things because I want you to have a neutral perspective from a content creator who's not Saheli's friend, but who knows Saheli very well and has also interacted with her quite a few times. Now, this is going to be my 100% unbiased opinion on all the claims, and I really want you to pay attention to them. So, let's get started. So, the first allegation is that Saheli ka brand name and company name are two very different things, and उसके brand name का कोई online presence नहीं है. तो सबसे पहली चीज़ मैं क्लियर करती हूँ कि आपका ब्रांड नेम एंड कंपनी नेम सेम होना बिल्कुल भी ज़रूरी नहीं है. आपके एक कंपनी नेम के अंदर बहुत सारे ब्रांड्स भी आ सकते हैं, एंड हेंस इट्स नॉट एट ऑल मैंडेटरी दैट यू कीप द सेम ब्रांड नेम एंड कंपनी नेम. बट आई थिंक Saheli has already answered why she kept her brand name and her company name different, because of that generic word. ठीक है, I think this allegation doesn't even make any sense. Second thing is, her portfolio does not have any kind of credibility, because that YouTuber thinks that the content that is there within the portfolio, that is pretty generic and copied. The logos that are there, वो Google करके सीधा सीधा मिल रहे हैं. तो उसके बारे में मैं क्या कहूँगी? I would say it's actually not a big deal, because Saheli ने खुद वो लोगोज नहीं बनाए. She is not a graphic designer. She probably has somebody who made these graphics, and उसने क्या करा वो Saheli को नहीं पता. Saheli Google करके नहीं देखेगी कि ये लोगो आ रहा है, सेम है, कॉपीड है या क्या है. वो अगर नॉन कॉपीराइटेड इमेज है, then even the graphic designer has the right to use it. अगर वो उसको यूज करके कुछ क्रिएटिव बना रहा है, so it's not a harm at all. I would say हाँ, थोड़ा सा ये प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है, because if you are using the existing thing and you're creating a pretty generic thing, so you can't sell it for a lot of money. But of course, that's on the client, right? If they are hiring Saheli or her team members for that logo and they are happy with it, then why should that be somebody else's concern? As Saheli said, this is more of a quality and subjective thing, so even I won't comment much about it, but that's just my perspective. That it's not just about copying, rather it's about using that free image to create something that creative may not turn out very well in your perspective or my perspective, but if the client was happy with it, then that's fine, right? Or if they were not, then it was her responsibility or the team's responsibility to revise it. Now, the third thing is that the page was inactive. So the person also claimed that Saheli ka LinkedIn page, that is Coffee Media ka page, and also Instagram page are pretty inactive. Instagram page she stopped posting some time ago, and LinkedIn page she has probably never posted and doesn't even have any followers. यहाँ पर मैं एक चीज़ बोलूँगी, we as creators have to do a lot of things. Honestly, I have so many different profiles on different platforms, but I can't be active on all, right? Just because I have a profile on X doesn't mean I'll post consistently. Of course, it's good too, but as a human, even with a team, it's not possible for me to do that consistently. एक ना एक point आएगा जब I would stop posting, or I'll take a break, or I'll probably not start on a platform at all. I'll just create a page and then I'll leave it, and it's totally fine from a creator's perspective. Because life happens. यहाँ पे जो मेरा second counter point है, that is आप उन्हीं platforms पर काम करते हो जहाँ पर you get the most returns. अगर मुझे मेरे खुद के blog से returns नहीं मिलेंगे, then I'll not post on it. I'll literally focus on just my client work, or I'll focus on my LinkedIn because that's going to get me more leads. So I'll focus only on what will bring me results rather than putting my eggs in all basket, right? So Saheli chose to focus on her personal brand on Instagram and LinkedIn and of course YouTube, and probably that got her really good results. So what's wrong with that? I don't know. Now the next thing is that her website was not updated. Updated as in नीचे copyright footer में 2023 या some other year it mentioned. So again, this is not a big deal. This is not something that you can judge her for. I know it's obviously good to keep that updated on an yearly basis, but again, she's a human and I think anybody can forget those things, right? So it doesn't make sense. Okay, she should have kept that in mind and got this updated, but it's okay if she has missed it. The next thing is that her portfolio, that seemed to be an old one. I mean, that is what Saheli said. And of course, it looks like it is an old one because she's not working on the same kind of things which she has mentioned in the portfolio. Even I came across her portfolio some time ago through LinkedIn, I think. And I also felt like this portfolio is not up to the mark, especially for somebody who's teaching how to build portfolio. I think it could have been a lot more professionally done and with a lot of other proofs and context. She has just posted so many screenshots without any context, which of course anybody can take and post. If these are actually real, I think it's worth justifying, or adding at least 1 or 2 lines around what you help the client with, right? So that I think was definitely missing, and not including the updated portfolio on her LinkedIn or website. I think that's a big mistake that she has made, because people are going to of course judge you for your portfolio, right? So even though she mentioned in the video that she only sent her latest portfolio with clients privately, I think it does not make sense, because most of your prospects are going to go away if you post your old portfolio and that does not show your expertise. If your portfolio does not showcase your work, it does not build a credibility, then nobody is going to DM you asking for your updated portfolio or inquiring about your service. So I think she should have definitely included her updated portfolio on her website or her LinkedIn. And even if not, then no portfolio at all. Just like I don't have a public portfolio, I only share it with those who reach out to me seeing my website or LinkedIn profile, because I just don't want to share it publicly. So if she also had this similar mindset, I think she should have just kept that to herself rather than posting a very generic and old portfolio, because of course people are going to judge her for that. Now another thing here is that she has almost no testimonials considering her big presence on LinkedIn. So I think she should definitely have got some testimonials from her actual clients and put that in the recommendation section, because I think that is what she also preaches in asks other freelancers to do. So this is a non-negotiable, because again people see your portfolio and then they reach out to you. So for any freelancer who's watching this, please keep your LinkedIn profile updated with your testimonials, your portfolio, if you're comfortable sharing, and your other work that determines your credibility. Okay, now talking about the revenue claim. See, that person has actually done a lot of calculations and studied the public reports and more. I can't really say whether she actually makes that kind of money which she has claimed, that is 1 crore at the age of 21 in the last 4 years back then. So I don't really know whether that is true or not, because of course I'm not her CA, I've never checked her accounts, nor I am to actually do that. So I can't comment on that, but assuming that the person has done the calculations right, I think it's okay, whatever that is. So one thing here is also to note that freelancers, they mostly, or agency owners, they mostly reveal their revenue, not their income or their profit, which means that that is the total amount they receive in a month or an year which they're talking about, and not what goes to their pocket after all the expenses. So please, there can be like a huge difference in the revenue and in the profit of a freelancer or agency, and do not get befooled by that, thinking that okay, they get that kind of money as profit. No, they can spend up to 30 to 50% in their expenses and just keep the rest of it. But of course, even then, that is a big number to make as a freelancer. And I'll tell you that I don't know whether the kind of money that she reveals or says that she makes, I don't know whether that's true or not. But one thing for sure, that those figures which she has ever posted, I think that got me some motivation that if she can make that kind of money, then why can't I? So I think just talking about numbers, talking about how much we can charge from clients, etc., that is actually helpful, because that makes people believe that हाँ, अगर ये कमा सकती है, then why can't we? But of course, we need to be realistic. We need to ensure that whatever we mention, that's not untrue, because उससे बहुत लोग affect हो सकते हैं. For example, if you are talking about making 10 lakh, whereas you are only making like 5 lakhs, and you claim that you work for just 4 hours a day, तो वो बहुत unrealistic हो जाता है that you are claiming that you are making 2x of what you're actually making, and others who are working for 10 hours a day, they think like हम क्यों नहीं कर पा रहे. So that is why it's so important to set realistic expectations, and also not just show people the best side of yourself or the highest numbers, but also the lowest that you're making, but also the struggles that you have come across, the kind of challenges that you have been facing while making these numbers, etc. Which is why I really try to be as authentic as possible, and not just talk about how much I can charge for blog writing, but also how low I have been paid at times when I started out, and even in between, and what kind of things helped me charge high. I think it's so important to talk about all the aspects, and not just giving this number that I charge this much, I made this much, etc. Now, the person talked about her skills, those are pretty average, and probably she can't even make 1 lakh a month with those skills and more. Well, I would say that was like a pretty wrong claim to make, because based on somebody's skills or even just a portfolio, I don't think you can really judge her for that, because of course her core skill is marketing, and she's doing her own Instagram growth and LinkedIn growth pretty well. So of course she can attract clients and also help them grow. So you can't really judge, or you can't really assume that she does not even make 1 lakh a month and claims to do that. So that, I think, is a pretty baseless claim. And also the fact that most freelancers, they don't have a skill problem, or they don't have any other problem, but still they make a lot less than what most people with pretty average skills make, just because of their right positioning, their right targeting, and their conversion skills. Because Saheli herself, I remember she posted around this that she's pretty average at whatever she does, and I think she accepts it. So why to just ridicule her for this? I don't know if that's a word, by the way, but yeah, it is. So why do you want to actually mock her just based on her skill? Because probably she can convert a lot more clients for the same skills that she have by just changing her target base from national clients to international clients. Because for my same skills, seriously, my same skills, my exact writing skills, one client was paying me like $20 for an article, and another client paid me $250 for the same thing, just because that was an Indian client versus that was an international client within the same month. Trust me, that was also because I quoted higher. That was also because I positioned myself a little differently, created or updated my portfolio. So it's not just your skills that determine how much you make, but also how well your soft skills are, your conversion skills, the way you're positioning, who you are targeting, how confident you are. All of these things seriously affect how much you're going to make as a freelancer. Skills, so people can only judge either through your portfolio or your work, or after they start working with you. Okay, so there, this person also said that the logos which Saheli created, those logos were not even used by the clients, और कुछ clients की website वगैरह बंद थी. So यहाँ पर I would say this is something that even I have faced as a freelancer, especially in the start of my journey. So I wrote for a travel brand, I wrote for another travel brand, a news website one, and both those websites, they got shut down. Just because I wrote for it doesn't mean that my skills were bad, because my skills can't directly help somebody make a lot of money, right? Or keep them in the industry. Even if my skills contributed to a lot of money, my writing contributed to a lot of money, they might have still shut their businesses, because it's not just dependent on my skills, but a lot of factors in their life that they're going through, that whether they want to continue with the business or not. So I think it's totally fine if your clients are not posting your content or not using your stuff, or even after using they had to shut down their business, even after making profits. I think this again does not make any sense. And this particularly happens with new websites, or websites that pretty bad at the positioning, or websites that are new but the owners are not sure whether to continue with the business or not. Even at a later stage, I have had clients जिन्होंने मुझे इतने सारे blogs लिखवाए थे मुझसे, they paid me very well, but that client never posted my blogs, and that client is still so happy with me and he wants to work with me. He is still working with me, but he has not put out the blogs which I have previously written for his other website because of some changes in his strategy and everything, but he was pretty happy with my content. So I think this does not mean that just because I delivered work and he has not put it out, it means that it was bad or something. No, it was not. Okay, now that person, he showed the Google location of Saheli's registered company, which was perhaps her home, and he showed that publicly, but Saheli in her response to him claimed that it is more of a safety concern to her, and that's the only problem she has with the video. But let me tell you that it does not make any sense, because if Saheli has put out her location on Google Map publicly, then why is data harm if XYZ person is resharing that screenshot or the video on his channel? I don't think it makes any sense. If it was really a security issue, she should not have posted it in the first place. But here, the way this person said that it looks like a khandar, I mean the meme that he posted after it, which was about her home looking, or her area looking like a khandar, I think that was pretty offensive. Even I would feel very bad if somebody would say that way to my home or surroundings. It's actually her wish where she wants to live or work from, and nobody has the right to mock that. Of course, they have the right, but that's just not ethical, because you cannot comment on somebody's roots or where they're coming from. Rather, see the kind of life she has made for herself, that she's able to travel, that she's able to take her parents to 5-star hotels, no matter whether she posts about it or not. But just see that where she came from and where is she now. And you should appreciate that transformation, I would say. But even if you cannot and you feel it's not because of her hard work, then at least please don't mock her for the kind of background she came from. That would have been very hurtful to her, because it even hurted me that the way he presented that, it was not ethical. So talking about her content now, so the person claimed that Saheli's content is pretty bad. The videos that she has made on YouTube, they don't deliver any value. Well, personally, I don't feel that way, because her long form videos, her short form videos, I would say yes, they're kind of repetitive. They are kind of they have a lot of hooks but don't deliver as much value. They are more of entertaining and not educational, and a lot of them are going to basically ask people to buy her course. I agree to them. But her long form videos, I think they are pretty genuine. They are pretty helpful, not just for beginners, but at times for me as well at this stage. So I occasionally consume her content on LinkedIn, and I think that's pretty helpful. So it's definitely not something I would criticize her about. Now talking about a lot of students commenting, basically saying that her course is pretty generic. So even some of my own students have said that her course was a waste of money and that was pretty generic. Well, I am not somebody who has ever taken her course, so I have no comments about it. But I would say here one thing, that you cannot expect a miracle out of a course, because there's so much competition in freelancing that most of the courses are almost the same. What is different is, of course, something based on experience and the kind of support that you get from any program. See, you pay your colleges as well for your whole year's course. It can be 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 1 lakh, whatever. But if somebody is charging 8, 9, 10K for a course, I don't think it's that big of a deal that you would expect something really big out of it, that you would just start making 1 lakh immediately. Because I think the course that she has, it, apart from having those theories, she also provides you support, and that is something that most people buy courses for, because you can find every single knowledge that she probably provides on YouTube videos. In fact, in my own course, whatever I provide, if you are good at Googling and you are good at YouTubing, sorry. Yeah, so I think you would possibly find every single thing but the kind of support that somebody provides and the kind of encouragement somebody provides, I think that is what matters. And I'm not sure of the support that she has, but I think you can definitely research more before investing in something. That's what I would say. Okay, now that person also said that she has an affiliate program, and she or somebody posted something like she pays, not exactly pays, but she provides some good things or freebies to somebody who writes good for her, or writes something like they were able to make XYZ money with her course, etc. I'll tell you this from two perspectives. One, this is a marketing technique that you give a commission or you provide something like a freebie or something, expecting them to write good for you. That is a marketing technique, and trust me, it's not bad, because affiliate marketing happens that way only. But of course, it is the writer's job, it is the publisher's job, it is the client's job to make sure that whatever they are writing is genuine, it is authentic. So there's nothing wrong with having an affiliate scheme like that, but it is actually the responsibility of our students to not fall for it. If they are not happy with the course, then why to spread right word or positive word about it just to get a freebie? It's definitely not authentic. So please, if you are a student of any course or anything and your mentor is asking you to write a testimonial or any kind of review in exchange of something, you have your own brain. Just because she's asking you to write a review doesn't mean that you would want to write something very inauthentic or something that you're not even happy about. You can't just positively mouth about it, right? So please use your own brains, your own skills that you have learned, and write an honest review, or do not write it at all. But just don't make a false claim that I was able to make this much by enrolling for her course and doing this and that. Please, that's not ethical on your part. Now, talking about Ishan, so I don't have a lot to say about him because I don't know him even that much. So that person claimed that Ishan's life is completely based on clickbaits. Well, even I felt that at times, that the kind of clickbaits or the kind of hooks that the titles that he has on his videos, they are not so accurate at times. Just like he said, whatever Karod house tour in my home, which was actually not his home but a rented home, which he revealed pretty later in the video. So such things of course are clickbaits, but I would say to an extent using clickbaits, not exactly clickbaits, but I would call them hooks, is important, because you won't really click on a video that says how to start freelancing in 2025. You won't click on that. But what kind of videos will you click on? Make 50,000 as a freelancer in 2025. You'll click on that because it includes a number. So of course, we do have the right to put out hooks and be as creative as possible with our titles. But at the same time, it's super important to ensure that we deliver what we promised within that video, because otherwise people will lose trust, right? So if the viewers of Saheli or Ishan feel like he's delivering a lot of fake things, or he's just using clickbaits and not delivering anything, they'll eventually stop viewing them, right? So I think it's important to keep realistic hooks, but at the same time, let's just not expect from creators that they won't be using any hooks at all, since it's too competitive and you as a viewer will only look out for videos with hooks. Okay, so that person also claimed that he has mentioned about her BITS experience on LinkedIn, whereas he actually dropped out of it. Well, what's wrong with that? I don't really know, because he has not claimed that he has completed his degree from BITS. Rather, he has actually mentioned in the education section under BITS that he dropped out in the third year of college in order to pursue this YouTube career full time. So what's wrong with that? If he has attended college for 2 years or 3 years, it's his right to mention that on YouTube. He has got enrolled, he had that capabilities that made him or got him admission in that college or university. So what is wrong with mentioning about that while he's clearly stating that he dropped out of it? Now, whether folks drop out of colleges or not, I think it's not just on him. He talked about his experience. I don't think that he promotes dropping out of college and just, you know, starting freelancing or agency without having any kind of educational background. Well, if he does that, then he's definitely wrong. But at the same time, it is the responsibility of the consumer or you guys to put your own brain and then think whether it is reliable on your part or not, whether you can sustain without a degree or not, because degrees are still very important, no doubt. And college in itself, apart from your degree or placement, it helps you learn a lot of things. Then the person also claimed that Fiverr is a platform wherein freelancers can't make a lot of money. I don't agree with that, because even though I personally don't use Fiverr, I would say I have seen a lot of freelancers make a ton of money through it, because they have been there on the platform since years. So of course, if you start with it today, it will be very difficult for you to sustain, but it doesn't mean anybody who is on Fiverr cannot make or does not make good amount of money. That's not the case. But what is problematic over here is that sharing content that you have no experience with. Well, the person claimed that Ishan does not have any experience with Fiverr, or he may not have made a lot of money himself through the platform, and if he is showing those things then and claiming to make like 50k, 1 lakh, etc., then it would be more problematic. It is more problematic because you cannot share content without experience, which is the problem which I mostly see in his content, that he gives you a lot of tool related information, or start this business, do that. And I think that's not just his problem, but the whole content economy, the content world is based on things that people don't practice. They just preach that. They just give you 10 ideas to start this, 50 ideas for that, 25 tools for that, but they are actually not having any kind of experience trying those out, getting success with them, and they're posting about it just because viewers are interested in them, just because those things are trending. People start making videos on it. Well, this is something that I'm personally against, and I personally only share things which I have tried and that have worked for me. Even if something has not worked for me, I'll go ahead and share my experience, but I'll not claim something which I've never done for myself. So please, creators, we need to understand that we can't fake such things. We have to be authentic in our content, no matter whether we are running out of ideas, whether we just need to keep up with the trends or not. But it's so important to be real with your experiences, so important to reveal the downsides and the complete perspective on any topic. Okay, now this person claimed that Ishan's LinkedIn page MarketUp has like around 14,000 followers, but where did those come from when he has never posted even once? So that can't be real. Well, but again, that's a baseless claim, because even I have a page, Rank Scholars, my agency's page on LinkedIn, and I've just posted like twice or thrice through that page, and it did not grow organically at all. But I think I have like 600, 700 followers, I think, on that page. And how? Because I send invites. There's an option to invite your connections to follow your page, and I've done that several times. It's pretty annoying actually, but I still do it just because I want to grow my follower base there. And there's literally almost no other way to do it, because LinkedIn page ki growth, that's dead. So you need to do that. So if Ishan has done that and he has got 14k followers, I don't think there's anything bad with it or suspicious about it. Okay, so the person has also said that the logo, Ishan's company's logo, is also pretty generic, and there's also another company that has a similar logo. So why is that? So I'll say a lot of times we as freelancers or small agency owners, we just get started with something without thinking much. We don't invest a lot in building our logos or thinking a lot about our brand names. We just start with it based on what feels right at that moment, and then eventually after some time, after years, when we look back, we feel like, okay, it's not that good. But at times we are like, yeah, logo hai, kyun badalna dobara, naam hai, kyun badalna, ya fir acha just let it be, it doesn't matter that much, or okay, theek hai, koi designer hire kar lenge, change karwa denge. So I think this is a pretty common mentality, but it does not tell you a lot about their authenticity or their skills as a person, but rather it's just about maybe a bit of their laziness or a bit about procrastination or not giving enough attention to it. And a lot of times we were just happy with it and we feel like results to aa rahe hain, clients to aa rahe hain, so what's the need of changing it now? So again, that's my perspective. Okay, so the final allegation which this person made was that Ishan claimed to have made $100,000 in one financial year in one of his YouTube videos. However, public records for his agency's revenue state that he made 40 lakhs. So there's like a huge difference. However, I realized that these two things are for different years. The video which Ishan posted is from March 2022, and the public records that state 40 lakh as his agency's revenue, that's from March 2023. So it's like there's a huge difference in the revenue, but at the same time, they're not from the same year. So what that person has claimed or what that person has compared is not practically correct. However, it doesn't mean that the revenue claims made by Ishan are correct, because either he has not revealed his true revenue online or publicly, which is like manipulating a bit of books of accounts for any reasons, or second, that he exaggerated those numbers in that video, claiming that he has made that kind of number. The last third scenario can be that he actually made that amount of money in year 2022, but in 2023 his revenue fell by so much percentage. It's like 2x difference. So of course that's a very rare scenario, but of course it can be a possibility. So yeah, it's up to you to think about it and just believe in what you think is correct, and not just by watching a YouTuber claiming that these people are scammers. Because of course, even if they have manipulated the numbers a little, I won't call them scammers at all, because it takes a lot to get known at this level. It takes a lot of effort, hard work, and helping people out, because of which people are still following them, people are still listening to them. They have huge audience basis for the reason that these people have some way contributed to people's positive lives. Let's not just call them scammers based on just one YouTube video or maybe 10 different YouTube videos claiming that these people are scammers, and maybe just do better research than completely getting against them and spreading that hatred. Try to analyze things from your perspective, from a neutral perspective, by talking to people whom these folks have helped, etc. So as an audience, it's actually your responsibility to not also fall for these these clickbait and other titles which they implement on a constant basis and fail to deliver value. Of course, it's the creator's responsibility to ensure that they are doing that, but also your responsibility as an audience to understand that it's not always these big numbers that are going to make a difference to you. It can be somebody who's just a step ahead of you, somebody who's maybe making 30K a month. That can bring a difference to your life. So just don't keep on watching videos of six-figure freelancers and more. Rather, just analyze where you are and what kind of steps you need to take, and try to also find micro influencers or influencers who may not be that ahead, but just like a step or two ahead in their lives, and they can actually help you out with the knowledge, experience which they have as freelancers or agency owners. And apart from this, I would just like to say that yeah, people, now it is your responsibility to think wisely and decide for yourself who's correct, who's not, in what way has somebody contributed to your life, or just don't start believing in a video or two that you watched. That is what I would say. I'm not saying whether Ishan is correct or Saheli is correct or they're not correct, but I just gave my point of view in the whole video as somebody who is a course creator myself, is a content creator, and also a freelancer turned into an agency owner. So I resonate with them a lot, and in some ways I feel that they are absolutely correct. In some ways I think they are partially correct, and in some ways I think they're not at all correct. So let me know, what do you think about these people in the comment section. I'm not sure if I would get hate too by just taking a bit of their side here, but that's just what I think, and I'm open to hearing your thoughts. If you want to see more of these videos wherein I talk about the reality of freelancing and what you need to do as freelancers to stand out, then make sure to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!